Hi, Stamper fans. Welcome to another Make It Monday. I am Nan Gerlitz, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Bloomington, Illinois, and I am here live on my Facebook page every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad you are joining me, and welcome to those watching the replay as well. I'm really happy that you stopped in. Mostly, I just want to help you explore your creativity and make some connections with people or strengthen some connections with people. I'm going to talk a little bit about that tonight as we're making, but want to wish everybody a happy World Kindness Day on November 13th here. At my day job, we have a spirit committee, and yes, if you don't have a spirit committee at your day job, get on that because that's awesome. But they encouraged us to wear our cardigans for World Kindness Day. So I've got my cardigan going on. This is like the most Mr. Rogers-esque cardigan I have. So so popped this on today, and I will say it's a little thin. So I wish I had a warmer sweater because it's mid-November in Illinois. Oh my gosh. All right, well, let me change the camera view here. Here we go. Oh, it's a celebration. Surprise, surprise. So this past Saturday was our it was called On Stage at Home. It was like a little mini virtual convention for Stampin' Up! Demonstrators. And I was lucky enough to go back up north where we moved from, and I got to meet with 3 of my team members. One of them could only join us for a little bit, but the other 2 and I were there the entire time. It was a 6-hour event, so so much fun. We laughed so hard. Just, got all caught up on our personal business because it's hard to do that over text and, whatnot, right? And you're running here and there, and everybody's got different schedules. So it was just nice to be in the same room as these lovely women again. So, and we got to celebrate Stampin' Up's 35th anniversary. It is their 35th birthday year. Stampin' Up started the same year that Russ and I got married. So it's very easy to remember that for me. It's a very good year. So let me get this. Let me scooch this confetti out of the way. Too fun. I didn't bother bringing my confetti. That came from my swag box, my little goodie box that I got. I didn't bother bringing that because I knew Chris, who had hosted the event for us. Thank you again, Chris. I knew she had her confetti, so I knew she'd have that taken care of. But we'll get that out of the way, and we'll get a nice view here with our fun props. We had, seriously, my gift box had, if you watched my little quick live last week, we had photo props and all sorts of fun things in there. So we had a lot of fun. And you probably saw the picture I took, the picture I posted of all 4 of us. So I'm glad we thought to do that before Betty left, with all of our little props and everything. It was a lot of fun. So I did want to share with you the 2, because they had a craft along session. So there were a lot of demonstrations and a lot of kind of reminiscing and some business training and just all sorts of great stuff. It was fun, wasn't it, Betty? I'm so glad that you could pop in. And I'm especially glad that you got to join us for the craft along part, because that was super fun. But the craft along part, they had product that's going to be available in January in our next mini catalog. And if you registered for the event early enough, then you could purchase this suite of products. It's called the Be Mine suite, I think. Anyway, so these are the 2 card projects that we made. And yes, Betty, it was a very fast craft along. Oh my gosh. See, and these are the kind of connections I'm telling you about. So Penny and Betty have been in the comment section of my lives for I don't know how long, chatting with each other a little bit, and they got to meet each other in person on Saturday, and it was a lot of fun, and you put a face with a name, and yes, hello, Penny. So it was just so much fun, and I really miss in-person events. And um, I know Chris had mentioned that their whole family's just been going through a lot of stuff. There's been illnesses and weird things and all sorts of things going on in her family for months now. And so she really hasn't had time to sit down and craft like she normally does, which she's a really good, an avid crafter. She hasn't had a lot of me time. And so, because this was an event that was set for a certain date at a certain time, she had to put aside the time to do it. And she said she really, really missed it and really needed it. So that was awesome. And our next event is in person in Houston in March, and we would love to have you join us. So, keep listening for things, reach out to me. I'll talk to you all about how awesome it is, and you can join us. So, yes, we did make these two very fun bee projects and had a lot of inappropriate humor going on while we were there. You're welcome, ladies. I do bring the inappropriate humor. So, just another benefit to being on my team. So, if you love an inappropriate humor, I'm your girl. The other thing that we did, Penny and I brought some what we call shoebox swaps. And basically, what that is like I would make up a card. And I did one of the ones that I did on one of my recent lives. And I just cut all the materials to make that card and bring the stuff with me. And then everybody gets to make one of them. And then Penny did that same thing. So this is the one that Penny brought for us to make. And I can't remember the name of it. It's like fold back, fun fold, back fold, fun fold, something like that. And the reason it is because you fold this back, and that is how the card opens. And how cute is that? So I'm pretty sure I'll be remaking this fun fold with current products. This was like celebration paper, and I loved it too. It was a really good one. But like the nested essentials she used and the hexagon punch. So there's some new and there's some old in here, and it's awesome. So Betty, I will be mailing you one of each of our cards. So I've got one of each for you. So I'll be popping that in the mail tomorrow. So, because Betty left before we did that part. So yeah, super fun. And Penny always loves to bring a fun fold. And I love that about that. Back fold, fun fold. That's what I thought. Okay. So that was another fun little thing we did. And that's just kind of voluntary for us. Chris hosted, so she didn't, have time to do any of that, and that was fine. And Penny and I were more than happy to bring stuff for people to make. So, yeah. And then the last thing I wanted to show you before we get on with it is from my friend Lucia, who you see in the comments here if you've watched our lives before. Lucia is from Australia. She's another demonstrator, and I met her at one of our virtual events for demonstrators. We were put in a breakout room on Zoom together, and when that happens, normally what I do is I take a picture of the screen, or I do a screenshot or whatever, so that I can see everybody's names, and then I go try to find them later. Yes, Chris made us lunch. Yes, she did. She took good care of us. So Lucia and I met in one of those breakout rooms. We connected on Facebook. She started watching my lives. I started watching her lives on replay because her lives are like 4 a.m. my time or something. But she sent Penny and I each a lovely card recently. And this is the one she sent me. I don't know if you got the same one, Penny, or a different one. But how beautiful is this? And it was just a lovely little message inside about how just a little smile for your mailbox, right? Kind of thing. And just so fun. And I love that. So Lucia and I found out that not only are we demonstrators and we have stamping in common, she also shares the same birthday as Stamper Man Russ. And also we figured out during one of my M&M rants on my little tangents on one of my lives that we both eat the brown M&Ms first. So you just start to find things you have in common. All right. Yes, isn't it so fun? I'm so glad Penny did get the same card. So, okay. So enough of the rambling. Sorry about that. This is the card I'm going to put together with you tonight. And it was the winner from last week's Friday Night Stampin'. This was my card. And I was very pleased with it. We are going to make a few alterations tonight because the little speech bubble here and the hearts actually come from the bee punch. There you go. That is not available yet. So I thought I would make a couple of alterations to show you how you can make this card with product that's available right now. So if you were interested in like remaking it, you could get the stuff you wanted right away. So that is what we're doing. Just a little bit different. Not much though. Okay, so, and I do have kind of an alternative card using the same designer paper pack and the beaver. So I'll show you something a little different at the end as well. And then I have a couple of other cards using this same Fluffiest Friends bundle that I'll be showing you later in the week. So stay tuned to the Facebook and Instagram feeds for that. Okay, so this Fluffiest Friends is one of the online exclusives that we have going on. And I think you've heard me talk about it before. Excuse me. But the online exclusives are just like they sound. They are exclusively online. So if you click on the Shop With Me link that's in the video description, you'll get taken to my page. You just click on Menu, and I think it's like Products, and then Online Exclusives. Or you can always wait for the banner to come up because I think it's on the banner as well. But this is one of the sets and die sets, or you can get them as a bundle, that are only available online. So you don't see them in a catalog. So it always pays to check the online store and see what's going on. Plus, you can always check the clearance rack while you're there and get some good deals on retired stuff. So it's a win-win. All right, so we were very excited that they had dies for this set because very often the cute critters come out and they don't have dies with them, and then we have to fussy cut, and you know, we'd rather not do that. We will, but we would rather not. So we've got some stamps, we've got some dies. I left my cutting machine over there, so I'll have to grab that. And we have pecan pie cardstock. So that's a new addition to our craft room. I think I told you, since they did the color refresh this year with the annual catalog, there's like, I don't know, it was like 14 or 16 new colors that came out, and or returning ones, but you know, I didn't have those either. So it's a lot of colors to buy all at once, right? So I've been kind of picking up a new color every month. And I figured that was the way we would do it. We actually picked up 2 last month. We picked up blueberry bushel and pecan pie. So, or is it pecan pie? I don't know how you guys say it. I guess I say pecan because that's what came out. Every time anybody asks me that question, I'm like, I don't know how I say it. If I'm thinking about it, I might say it differently. So this paper is the One Horse Open Sleigh paper, and I was looking for a scene to basically put this guy in, and these trees just jumped out and went, yeah, beavers love trees. so I just used an entire piece for, and all the measurements for everything are in the link in the video description, so you can see the entire supply list and the measurements. Like caramel or caramel, yes. Anytime we see a commercial and somebody says caramel, my husband's always like, you mean caramel? So I do tend to say caramel because I guess I'm an American, right? I don't know. Who knows? Okay, what do I need next? Yes, my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So you absolutely could use the mini for this particular card because everything would fit in the mini. The first thing we want to do is make that kind of snowy slope. Exactly, yes. It's caramel. That's how I grew up, you know, whatever. So I'm going to use the Basic Borders dies. I love these dies. Because as you can see, you've got a good variety of stuff to make, like really cool, you know, designs, borders on your cardstock, on your projects. You got your kind of lacy, you got your zigzag. This is awesome for clouds or for hills, I suppose, or for trees in the distance. Oh, Hannah. Well, Hannah is a pretty amazing baker, so she gets to say caramel. All right, so we've got this cool little just curved border. And I'm going to grab this one. Yes, I have a few sheets of vanilla here. And I think this one is 5 1/4 by 2. And I'm just basically going to make it high up on one side and low down on the other. So it's just a hill that he can kind of hang out on. I am going to tape that down with my Post-it tape. This is not fancy. You can use washi tape. You can use a sticky note. I like the Post-it tape because it's not too sticky and you can tear off just the amount you need. So you can make a really big piece or a really small piece. It's fine. And I get nothing if you buy Post-it tape. I have no affiliate link or anything. So, okay. So now we have a cool, get this guy out of the way for a minute. He'll be back. But we have a cool little hill for our beaver to put his nest on. His nest of, is it a nest of twigs? I don't know. Because I know they build dams, but that's clearly not a full dam. Pardon my French. All right. So I just cut this to be the same width as my designer paper. I'm just going to pop it down at the bottom. Cool. Super, super simple so far. See, you did say it is a dam, I guess. That's what I was wondering, but it looks more like a nest to me. I guess it should have been that way, shouldn't it? Oh, well. Apparently he befriended a really big bird that made that nest. I did not think that through when I made the card. Chris is here. Hello, Chris. See, so the gang's all here, guys. We're getting the band back together. All right, and for the inside of our card, I've just got a regular piece of the vanilla, 5 1/4 by 4. Penny, you're so nice. You weren't going to tell me it was upside down. Is that why you voted blue? Because my dam was upside down? Oh, man. We're having a blast tonight, guys. The wheels have come off the wagon pretty early. So I'm going to take a little strip of that same piece of designer paper with the cool trees. I'm just going to put it along the edge here. It was just left over from when I cut out the piece I needed for the front. All right. And that will be our inside piece. Hey, Betty, did you ever find your bone folder? I was laughing about that with Russ, that you think Carlos stole it. So, and it's very funny when I was telling him about that. So you guys all know my husband stamps with me every week, right? So he tells me, he says, you know, if I get like scissors from a drawer upstairs or something, he says, I might bring them over to where I need them. I'll use them. I might put them on the counter. And then like the next time I come by, I'll put them away. Eventually they get back in the drawer. But he says, if I use one of the crafting tools from downstairs, I'll go all the way back downstairs and put it away immediately because I know one of us is going to say, where is that? So I appreciate that, that I know my tools aren't going to walk off. So maybe you should just teach Carlos to stamp, Betty. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is stamp our beaver and our upside down dam. I'm calling it a nest. And we're going to stamp those in Memento ink. So I've just got a couple of scraps of paper here for all of that. And my block. Look, I remembered my block, so I didn't have to leave you guys to go get it. Betty was remarking on Saturday that it's nice to see that, because she's a new stamper, that all of us were still like confused during the craft along, or we were making mistakes or whatever. And I'm like, seriously, have you seen my lives? I'm always forgetting things, or like, you know, running here or there, or not knowing where I put things. So it's just, that's just how you stamp. That's part of the process. Okay. So when I talked about how this stamp set, see, there it is. I'm like, I already lost my stamp case, is an online exclusive. So they release online exclusives several times a year. So basically, pretty much every month, you either have a new catalog coming out or some online exclusives getting released. So there's always something new to discover at my website. So, okay. I'm still stamping this upside down because it was a nest to me and I need something to put my hearts in. So that's so funny. Oh, I'm such a goof. I was thinking, like, afterwards, wait, beavers don't do nests. They live in dams. Haven't you ever seen Narnia? Because you can. That's right. And see, this is just another wonderful thing about stamping. If you want to stamp it upside down, you can, doggone it. You don't have to buy a pre-made card that's made the way that it's supposed to be. You can just be weird. All right. And the other thing I'm going to stamp is my sentiment. And I decided to grab the inked and tiled set because it has this lots of love in there. And since he was holding a little heart, I thought I needed a little love stamp. So we pulled that out. Oops. Oh, I don't really need to make sure this is straight because I'm going to punch it out. But I am going to stamp it in the pecan pie. So I basically just grabbed like some scraps of vanilla that I had out that were big enough for the images I was doing. Okay. All that done. All right, so let me put my stamp sets away so I don't get confused. We all see some other options with stamps, kind of like the bee's wings. So that was where the inappropriate comments came in, guys. Because I saw a little something else when we stamped those bee's wings. Where did I put that card? There's one of them. So like if you just kind of look at just the wings, it's kind of hanging low. Use your imagination. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we had a blast. Let me tell you, you don't want to miss our next event. I'm just saying. Okay, so I've got pecan pie and petal pink blends. And so the petal pink came in just for the inside of this heart. Now it's really just twigs that he's holding, so it wouldn't necessarily be pink in there, but I wanted it to stand out. I wanted you to see he was holding a heart. So I decided that he's a crafty little beaver and he put like some tissue paper or stained glass or something in his twigs. As one does. All right, I'm going to start with my light pecan pie. I think this is light, right? Yes. Okay. It's just such a dark color. And I'm going to pop that all the way around. And I kind of left, I've been seeing a lot of this, the really artistic people that I admire, and I'm like, ooh, I want a color like that. They tend to leave some like white space in the middle, and I'm like, okay, we'll do that. Let's work on that. All right, get his little hands. Are they hands? Are they paws? I don't know. Do beavers have paws? That doesn't sound right. So We've got light pecan pie, and then we're going to come in with the dark, and we're just going to basically go along these shadow lines that the Stampin' Up! Artists very thoughtfully put in for us. I love that they just add all the shading for us so you know exactly where to color. Super helpful for those of us that were scarred in our grade school days, told that they weren't very good. Clearly, it took me 50 years to get over that. So, and I also usually add a little shading like under the arms and under the chin if he's got a big fat chin, right? Paws. Okay. I'm going to buy you an animal encyclopedia. Like I'm going to read that. Get me an Audible book or something. All right. And I think his snout is going to be the dark pecan pie. Okay. So we've got this going on, and you can see the definite, definitions between the light and the dark, right? So that's the lines I want to go over with the light pecan pie again, and just circle where they meet. So I'm just coloring around in circles where the light and the dark meet, just to blur those lines a little bit. Now, these are alcohol-based markers, so they go on pretty wet, and then they will dry. And as they dry, you'll see kind of more shading come in. And so you can add more or less wherever you want. And also, something that we learned on Saturday that I knew, don't be afraid to mix your colors. So if you wanted to add some yellow to this guy or orange or whatever you wanted, right? So there's our little beaver. He's a cutie pie. All right. And then we did the twigs, the dam or the nest, whichever way you want to go. I'm weird, so it's a nest. And I literally just kind of went over each of these. I started with the light and just did all of them. And I am not being very, I will show you, I am not being very particular. I'm outside the lines and whatever, because they're twigs and it's fine. And nature is messy. Probably should have had one of these done though, so you didn't have to watch me do quite all of this. I was actually trying to find a piece of designer paper that I could just stamp these twigs on. And so then it would take on the, texture and design of that paper. But I felt like it was filling in too much of the in between the twigs then too. And I didn't want that. So now, oops, missed one. Now what I did was I added a little bit of the dark pecan to like some of the ones that are underneath. Just to give it a little, I don't know, dimension, I guess. Talking like I know what I'm talking about, right? It's so funny. I don't need an animal encyclopedia either because I don't want to be a vet or a zoologist. So it's fine if I don't know everything. I'll just ask the grandsons because I'm sure they'll tell me exactly what I need to know. They love animals. So I just have a little bit of different shading going on there with the light and the dark. And it didn't take me long at all. And it was not super specific or anything like that, right? Pretty easy. Okay, so now we're going to take our die set. We're going to bring back in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. We're going to die cut those out. So I almost always stamp first, die cut afterwards. The grand boys would love an encyclopedia like that. You're right. We already have a dinosaur fact book that they make you read. And it's like, yeah, that's super fun having to say all those dinosaur names all the time. I mean, some of them I know, but some of them are like, wait. And they always give you the phonetic spelling too. So I'm like, okay, now I really have to get this right because they're telling me how to do it. But the ones that have more than like 5 syllables are kind of hard to wrap your tongue around, I guess. So, yes, so I stamp before I die cut because then when I am putting the dies over them, I can get that right up to the image, and I know that it's going to cut it out correctly. We're going to leave that sentiment alone for a sec because we're going to use a punch for that. So I will show you all in a minute. Not that the three ladies that are so chatty here don't know, but I will show you all the gift that I brought for them, the gifts that I brought on Saturday, because I did promise you I would let you in on that. They were all pretty happy with them, I think. All right, clear out this. Oh my gosh, the mess I have going on beside me, you guys, you have no idea. Okay, so dimensionals. So it wouldn't be a me card without some dimensionals. First, I'm going to attach the nest because it's a really big nest. It's like an eagle's nest. The beaver stumbled upon an eagle's nest that had fallen on this hill out of a tree. I have a good imagination. All right, so that's going to pop on there. The beaver is going to go up on dimensionals. So we need him to stand out. He's awesome. This is another thing I should point out that I don't think I have in a while. You'll notice this is the back side of him. And if you are new to Stampin' Blends, they do bleed through the paper. So you always want to make sure to protect your work surface. Have like, scrap paper or an old magazine or something down so that you won't stain your work surface. So he'll hang out there for a minute. We need to bring our die cut machine back in. But first, let me show you the punch I picked up. I swear I thought I was more organized than this tonight. I've grabbed the double oval punch because that sentiment will fit perfectly in this little oval. And it will give us kind of the same feeling as that speech bubble that I made out of the bee's body. And I did, because I think it was Saturday, one of you commented on, how do people see these other things and stuff? And I suggested to them, if you take your catalog and you turn it upside down and you look at all the stamp images that way, you might see some other possibilities. But I will say that when I first saw this punch, I went, well, that looks like a speech bubble. So don't be afraid to use things for what they're not intended. Like you can turn a beaver dam into a nest. It's fine. All right. And speaking of that little speech bubble, when I was stamping it, because the Lots of Love sentiment is on red rubber and I couldn't see through it, I wasn't sure that I was going to get it lined up just right. And so that's why I actually cut around it. I fussy cut that out and popped it up on dimensionals so that I could place it just right so it would be in the speech bubble. All right, we need our die cut machine out because those little hearts that I had punched out were from the bee punch as well. So what I did was I grabbed our Give It a Whirl dies, which also have cute little heart die in there. Actually has 3 heart dies, but I'm going to use the smallest one. So once again, through the machine. Feel a little like Willy Wonka tonight. Except I don't have a Wonka wash. All right, once through, just going to leave that right on there. We're going to go back through the other way because, yes, you can go through the other way. So it's nice. You're left-handed, you're right-handed, doesn't matter. You can use this. We need 3. So I do love that Stampin' Up! Has started putting multiples of the same die in a lot of die sets when they know that you're going to cut out multiples of those things. So like if there's an image of flowers or bees or something like that, very often they will put like 2 sets of that die in so that you can cut out multiples at the same time. Super helpful and thoughtful of them. All right, so we have used 3 different sets of dies tonight, and I know that's a lot. So when that bee punch comes out in January, you can just substitute that for the hearts and the sentiment, and you're good to go. Okay, we'll bring our little... And the advantage here too, though, is these hearts have the little stitched lines on them, which is super, super cute. So a very tiny dot of liquid glue, and we're just going to tuck these in so they're in that, you know, eagle's nest that fell to the ground. This guy gets tucked in a little farther, and then one of them fell out because he's sending you so much love it cannot be contained. And then, of course, we needed to add a little bling, and so I grabbed my favorite, what are these? Neutrals Adhesive Backed Sequins. I absolutely love these for some really cool neutral bling, right? So since we've got the pecan pie, I grabbed this darker brown. And let's make our little triangle, right? So we put one down, and we're going to put one over here, and one right next to it. So we've got our kind of long triangle going, and that makes it very aesthetically pleasing. The things I learn. And there you go. So here's our variation on that card. So it is pretty close with just a couple of substitutions of products so that you have everything that's available on this one. And then this one, the punch will be available in January. So, but... And that beaver came out pretty close. I left more white space on this guy, which is another nice thing about coloring and stamping and creating in general, is that every one of your creations is going to end up just slightly different. And that's what makes it wonderful and homemade. And, you know, it touches people, I think. So let me show you, before I show you the other card I made with this set, let me show you the gifts that I brought for the ladies on Saturday. So, the woman whose coaching group I belong to made a bunch of notebooks, and so I picked out what I thought would be a favorite. It says, hold on, let me overthink this. And it's just a great notebook that they can write down all their fun ideas, or they can journal, or they can go on and on about how I think a nest is a dam and a dam is a nest. And then I found a cool video on how to make these calendars. So I wanted to make them calendars, but this one is like a stand to itself. So it stands up like that. And then the pages in here are just squares, and they're each side is a different month for 2024. Now, the nice part about this, I think, is that next year they could make a new set of pages for 2025 and just replace these. And then they could just pop the vellum off with the 24, or they could cover it and put 2025 on. Or they could save it for the good thoughts. Yes. So those are the little gifts that I got for them. And I gave them some little sticky flags so that they could flag their new catalogs when they get them. Oh, I'm so glad you guys liked them. I had so much fun picking them out and making the calendars, and yeah, labor of love. So, all right. I did promise you another card with this fun stamp set tonight. Still using the beaver and the one horse open sleigh designer paper, but a different pattern. So I grabbed this one with this cool, I don't know, barn and this little fence kind of bridge thing here. And so I stamped the sentiment directly on this, and just the same beaver pecan pie again with the little petal pink. It's super, super cute. And this one, actually, I took the part of the trees that were I'd cut off and put in the inside. So there's your couple of cute little Bucky Beaver cards. Actually, I think this might be Cajun Craze because it's definitely a different color. And Cajun Craze is what the cabin back there is. So I switched it up to match that. So there you go with that. Now, before I let you go, I know we've been chatting a lot tonight, but very important announcement that came out of Stampin' Up! This weekend, just yesterday, is that tomorrow they are starting a seasonal sale. So it's tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, the 14th through the 16th of November. And so everything in the annual catalog will be 10% off ribbons and trims, 15% off all your inks, and 20% off papers. So the inks, just not including bundles. So you can't get like the bundles of 10 assorted ink pads or whatever like that. But the inks do include the Stampin' Pads, refills, markers, and Stampin' Blends, all of them. So if you've had your eye on some of those new colors and you haven't had a chance to get them, or if you're just starting to build your collection and you need to, ramp up some more colors for your fun, tomorrow is a good time to do that. And 20% off papers. The paper includes all the cardstock, specialty paper, and designer paper. These are all from the annual catalog, so the big thick book. If you just click on my shop tomorrow, you can just follow the banner right to the sale and it'll show you everything that's included there, and you can pick out what you like and just pop that in your cart and be very, very happy. Call it an early Christmas present to yourself. But I did want to make sure you knew, because that starts tomorrow and it only goes through Thursday. So I didn't want you to miss it. It's a good sale. I'll probably be picking up another color. And when I do buy a new color, let me pop the camera up here. There we go. When I do buy a new color, so last month I got Blueberry Bushel and the Pecan Pie. And when I do that, what I've been doing now is I buy the stamp pad, I buy the refill, I buy the cardstock, and I buy the Stampin' Blends. The markers you can only get in packs of 10, so you can't get just one color on that. So, but I buy everything that I can buy singly in that color, so that way I know I'll have everything I need. If I'm going to stamp something in Pecan Pie, I know I'll have cardstock to go with it. I know I'll have the Stampin' Blends to color, my guys in or whatever. So everything I've got there. And the ink refill is very important, because that way your stamp pad is going to last a good long time. And when it starts to dry out, you can just re-ink it and keep on going with the fun. So, and all 4 of those products in the US, that's under $35 for all of them. And you'll have all of your good color stuff to go, and everything's coordinating. So, and you won't be sitting in your craft area going, doggone it, I don't have the right color cardstock. So, all righty. Okay. Well, thanks, ladies, very much for joining me. And for those of you that watched the replay, I hope you put up with our silliness today. Or, just come join us before March so that you can be at the next event and you can participate in the silliness. All right. That is all I have for you tonight. Until next Monday, I am still Nan Gerlitz. Happy stamping.